Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Martin and we're back with Loki. Last time on Loki, well, we got everything. We got an alligator Loki, we got Richard D. Grant Loki, we got child Loki, we got Frog 4, we got a bunch of other Lokis, and you know, as you might expect, they all really didn't get along with one another. And on top of that, Sylvie jumped into this world where all the destroyed timeline stuff ends up like a graveyard of things that were never meant to happen. And once they are reunited in this place, they fight off a giant monster made out of smoke, as you do. And once they did that, once they succeeded in beating that monster, it seemed to open up a gateway to whoever might be in control of the TVA, the sacred timeline, everything. I feel like we're running in to the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, let's jump into this, see what it's got, and see if all this build-up has got a good payoff. Let's find out together. What the hell is going on? This is movie dialogue and Steve Rogers dancing music. So is that the timeline? This place has got the timeline in like a big old circle going around it. All happening at once. Oh. We're expected, it seems.
And who is he?
He created all, and he controls all. At the end, it is only he who remains. And
Stop
he wants
talking
all
in
that
riddles.
he would do. He's been you can kill Thanos. You want the Infinity Gauntlet? Yours.
What's that saying about the fruit tasting too sweet? And, you know, I feel like there is a catch to this whole thing.
We write our own destiny now.
Yeah, baby.
Sure you do. Good luck with that.
Well, that was menacing. I don't know if this is just going to be someone completely new or not, which would feel a bit weird if it is, but I guess we'll find out very shortly. Didn't like that statue? Want to get rid of that one?
This is wild. The two of you, same person. I mean, it's a little unnatural.
Who are you?
Don't tell me I'm a disappointment.
No. Just a little bit easier to kill.
Yeah, like it was going to be that easy. Come on now.
2 sugars.
The vibe of this whole scene is very weird. It's so bizarre. Like, I feel like the music's trying to make me feel threatened by this guy, but I'm really not.
So you're gonna prune me?
I like that idea, but you know, my standards might be a little bit higher in that area than yours. You know, with close personal friends.
I'm sorry. Yes. 100 D90 to my office immediately.
Yeah, sorry, Mona, that's not going to work out the way you think it is, now that we know your secret.
What did you do?
They all know. Everyone knows.
That isn't Judge Renslayer.
How? But it is, but it isn't.
A lot to talk about.
Revolution!
You can't kill me because I already know what's going to happen. See?
That tracks.
No, we broke out of your little game. That's how we got.
I mean, Sylvie, I think
No.
he's got your number a little bit.
I paved the road. You just walked down it.
I mean, that's very frustrating, especially for these two.
Right.
And you suffer a crisis of faith and turn to those variants?
Your variant.
And you threw it all away. You're of no danger to me.
Is that what you think? Let's see.
Oh, come on now, Mobius.
Where are you going to go?
In search of free will.
I cannot get a beat on her. I'm not sure what she's trying to do. Does she just want the head honcho job? Is that what it is?
And just who are you?
Yeah, please answer
I've
that.
been dubbed many names by many people. Eons ago.
A T-1000.
Or using the best of their universes to improve the others.
Okay,
However,
so far so good.
New worlds meant only one thing: new lands to be conquered.
That also tracks because, you know, people suck.
I weaponized Goliath. And I ended the multiversal war. Ages and ages of cosmic harmony, hence... You're welcome.
For a guy who has the opinion of I saved everyone, he's got a fucking big house with statues and shit. Like, that's never a good sign.
Why would you give up being in control?
Tired? Bored?
I'm tired.
Hey, he's tired. Called it
And
2 seconds before he
I'm
said it.
trying to find the right person to take this spot.
So you
It
came to
turns out
Loki
that person
and Loki.
Came into.
I don't know if that's completely the right choice. What's happening? What's happening? He looks concerned about something. Something's gone off the beaten path somewhere.
I knew everything up to a certain point, and that point was about 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds ago.
Right.
No, I have no idea.
Branch.
No
The branches.
idea how the
They're
rest
branching.
is going to go.
And now you're just gonna sit there with all that freedom and let us decide your fate.
Yes. Yes.
That seems like
What's
an
worse that can happen?
incredibly crazy thing to do.
I know the TVA has hurt us both, but what if by taking him out, we risk unleashing something even worse? Or
I mean, there
actually
is that risk. That is going on.
a minute.
Why aren't we seeing this the same way?
Because they're
'Cause you
different.
can't trust. And I can't be trusted.
Now, ain't that the truth?
Guess we're in a pick.
This could go any way.
The cost of getting this wrong is too great.
I mean, he's not wrong about that. It's slow-mo. What's going to happen? Something important happens when there's slow-mo. Oh, damn. That was a risky fucking move. Oh my god, it happened. It happened, guys. It's still weird. It's so strange. What's he doing back there?
But I'm not you.
No, she is not. Yeah, I had a feeling she'd want to see this through to the end in some way.
Aren't you going to beg for your life?
You wanted this. History will repeat itself, or so he thinks. Well, here we go. Timeline's about to go fucking bonkers, as I kind of expected it would from the first episode. Like, there was no chance in hell the sacred timeline was going to be staying very sacred.
He's terrifying. He planned everything. He's seen everything. He knows everything. It's complicated, okay? But someone is coming.
That is exactly what it is.
What's your name?
He doesn't remember you.
Boots on the ground now, archives.
What
Are
happened?
you?
What happened? Yeah, this is what he planned. What has stepped into the void? Oh my god, and that's how it fucking ends. That's insane. You thought the TVA were bad beforehand, now... Oof. Oof. Big oof. Loki will return in season 2. That is a very on-the-nose post-credits bit. That was just very silly. Right, that was the reaction to Loki. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking, all that stuff. But as for now, we're going to talk about this episode. Okay, well that was... There's a lot to process. I mean, first things first, it was a lot more kind of wordy than what I was expecting, especially considering the previous 2 Disney Plus Marvel shows. Their final episodes were sort of big, bombastic Marvel stuff, like what you traditionally expect from a Marvel property to do for its last act. Here we got a very heavy, wordy kind of episode. It was just a lot of dialogue about stuff. But let's try and break this down a little bit. To begin with, just talking about the episode itself rather than speculatory sort of stuff of what might come of this. Just talking about the episode as it was made and done and whatever. I don't know how I feel about sort of the big bad of the piece. I mean, he might be someone, and I'm sure someone out there can read into this and piece it all together and figure out who it's supposed to be. But for me, who's, like I've said previously, my comic book knowledge is basically pretty, well, basic. It's very, like, I know the main characters of comic book lore and some of the villains and stuff. This could literally be anyone for my money, other than he was, you know, just some guy from a timeline who helped discover the truth that there are multiple different universes and interacting with them. He could be someone of comic book importance. He might not be. He might just be some guy. And coming straight out of the episode, I don't really know how I feel about that. In some ways, I like it's a subversion of expecting like a big bad in the traditional way, and it's just, you know, just a guy who's found himself in this position where he believes he's doing the right thing. But at the same time, it feels like a little bit of an anti-climax. It's odd, is it? And then his performance, I mean, no doubt about it, it was definitely a thing. Like, it was this eccentric turned up to 11, but I don't know. I don't know if it suited the scene, unless he's playing a very particular character who's meant to behave that way. Like, the music in the scene where he first appears was telling me this guy is a threat. But his performance was like, he's just kind of loopy, and I suppose that's what it is. It's the fact that the timeline is being ruled by this eccentric weirdo, and that's kind of a scary thought. Well, it is a scary thought, but I don't know. I'm just kind of still processing it, I think. I just don't know how I feel about that being what this show has been leading up to. However, I like the fact that the show has ended on this big cliffhanger that could have very sort of dangerous and interesting repercussions for the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. Like, I feel like this is a very big event, so surely it's got to impact other things in the MCU as well as just this TV show, because, you know, they're talking about everything. They even start this episode with bits of the other movies, so it feels like there's going to be some kind of crossover between these events and other things in the MCU, and that's interesting. One thing I did really love about the episode was, you know, the Sylvie Loki dynamic. Like, it felt like this episode really took what their relationship was to its natural conclusion by sort of overtly, sort of very much saying, like, our Loki from our universe is someone you just can't trust the word of. That's been the theme throughout this whole season. That, do we know where he actually falls in all of this? Do we know what he actually wants? I feel like he's being pretty genuine at the end. I feel like he's more afraid of what could be with what the consequences, and then we sort of see those consequences coming out to fold. And, you know, he has no reason, when he's back with like Mobius and stuff at the very end, he has no reason to really lie about that stuff and being afraid of it. But at the same time, you can understand where Sylvie's coming from, is that this guy who previously at least craved domination and control is presented with an opportunity to be just that, and she can't trust him to think that he's doing it for a greater good, that maybe it's just because, you know, he wants it for himself kind of thing. But at the same time, with Sylvie, it's this whole her not being able to trust other people in a way that, you know, you can understand why she doesn't trust other people, but you see, like, there's a desire from both of them to to trust that person and to be trusted. Like, it's interesting. I feel like in terms of how it was exploring those themes for this season, I felt like that came to its natural, like, point. It came to where this was always kind of going, and that was satisfying. That was a satisfying way to then, you know, let's move on to the next chapter of whatever that relationship is going to be, because I feel like we've got to this point now and we can now move on to whatever the next beat of it is, and that's going to be interesting. That's the thing I'm probably most looking forward to in terms of where this whole thing goes next, is how we're going to explore Loki now that he's kind of turned a new leaf in a very kind of like, I'm not there anymore, I'm over here, how can I prove it to people kind of thing, and that's what I'm interested to sort of see next. It's also interesting that the events that took place with timelines branching out into complete madness seem to affect the TVA as well, because from what we sort of gleaned from them is that they're meant to sort of exist outside of it looking in. Whatever Sylvia's done by killing the guy in charge of it all, the consequences are reverberating out in such a way that it's affecting not just things within the timeline, but things outside of it as well. So again, that's another thing that's going to be interesting to pick up on. It's kind of that weird thing, I suppose, that because they know there's going to be a season 2, and they're banking on the fact that people will come back for that second season, because, you know, if they've enjoyed this, of course they fucking will, that they're not giving you a conclusion. Whereas the other Disney Plus shows gave you a conclusion with like a dangling thread of what could happen next. This isn't giving a conclusion. It's going, there's more to come. Stick with us. That's what this show has done. And I understand if people might be frustrated by that, but I think it's ultimately a good thing. It's gonna, I think, make the next season all the more interesting that there is a direct through line going through into it, and it's not just going to be like a system reset in terms of what television normally does, where, you know, at the end of the episode or the season, everyone gets reset back to their normal place, so the next season can start on a new leg and let's go. This is very much like a chapter 1 to a bigger story, I feel, and I'm on board for that. As for speculation, obviously I feel like this is going to be directly tied into the Doctor Strange movie, that being called, you know, with the title Multiverse of Madness, I feel like it, you know, it's going to be involved in some way, shape or form, and we know that Scarlet Witch is going to be involved in that, so I feel like Loki and WandaVision, obviously, they're playing a role in setting up that movie in kind of a big way, and exploration of what the consequences of this is going to be. That being said, I don't know if they've said if Tom Hiddleston's going to be in the Doctor Strange 2 movie or not. I try to avoid that kind of stuff so I can be surprised, but it's interesting. It feels like it is going to relate to it in some way. That's my gut feeling because of the title, if nothing else. I do wonder if it's going to be explored in the other projects as well. Like, I feel like they have, you know, they've opened a can here. Like, they've opened a can of worms, and once that can has now been opened, you can't really put it back in the can in a way that's going to be, you know, in a way that makes sense and satisfying. I feel like this is going to spill over into everything now going forward. So that's going to be interesting to see how that is handled. Although, having said that, I doubt, like, Shang-Chi and some of those other, and the Eternals, I doubt that those two movies are going to be dealing with this directly. There might be hints of it, but as I said, I doubt that those films will really have any kind of, like, direct spillover. Who knows? Might be surprised by it, because they might be taking place before all this, for all I know, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like this is a big moment, you know. Talk about, like, Avengers level threat. This feels like something that should be, like, acknowledged in a big scale movie, right, in the MCU, and for all I know, that's only going to be happening in Doctor Strange 2, but we'll see. We shall see. I suppose that also opens the door to all the fucking, like, Spider-Man 3 kind of speculation that's been going on about. I've tried my best to keep away because I don't want to be spoiled on stuff, but Spider-Man 3 stuff has just been going nuts, and it's pretty impossible to not see that stuff, but it certainly opens the door to what all those speculations and rumors have been, because this is insane. This is clearly opening the door to bigger threats, bigger heroes, everything. Like, this is bashing down the doors to what we knew the MCU to be, and it's going to completely change it and upheave it into something new, I think. And we'll see how that goes. But overall, I've enjoyed this show. I think that was a interesting subversion of a final episode, and there's still elements of it I can't quite make my mind up on how I feel about it, but ultimately I appreciate that they went for something a little bit different, and they pushed in for something that felt like a big upheaval of the universe, but doing it in its own way and style, and, you know, not going down, like, it feels like a very big divergence from what you'd expect from an MCU property to do, and I appreciate that greatly. But yeah, that was Loki. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed these videos, and yeah, presumably see you for season 2. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss future stuff. And there's a bunch of other content that you can check out, so please do that as well. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this. I will catch you on the next one.